I'm here doing a writing consultation, should we call that?
Sure.
With Emily Simmons. Emily is my neighbor, and she is a brilliant writer. Whenever I read little pieces she writes, it's so much fun to read. She is a wordsmith. She makes it all sound good. And she's wanted forever to actually write a novel. And she has a master's in what?
I have my bachelor's in English literature.
Okay, that. And anyway, she's wanted to write a novel forever. And she finally decided, I'm going to do it. And she's like, Sean, give me some coaching. So this is the third time we've met. And I'm excited because whatever she comes out with, it's going to be awesome. And she's going to say, thank you, Sean, in the forward. And I'm like, cool, I'm part of that. Anyway, tonight I keep telling her these things and making up new things. And I keep saying, I should be recording this for YouTube. So I'm actually going to give it a try and see if I can remember some of the things I said. All right. So, for example, today she's been doing her outline for 2 weeks. And I've already got my video on the writing process. So prewriting. Super important. And has that been helpful?
Mm-hmm. It has been.
How so?
You know, just having the idea in my head always, these last 2 weeks while I've been doing other things, I'll just be going about my life and I'll find things that'll trigger, oh, you know what? This idea is going to go perfectly in this scene. And, you know, I've been looking for a really cool puzzle idea, and then, you know, I'm sitting in church on Sunday and I'm like, boom, get out my notebook, gotta write this down before I lose it, you know? So the idea of getting it, instead of thinking that I will be inspired in the moment when I'm writing, I like that I'm allowing inspiration to happen in advance, so it kind of, I feel like it's priming me for when I do actually start writing.
Good.
That I at least have some things to start with, and then inspiration will come with all the rest of it.
Yeah. Inspiration comes a lot better when you're prepared for it.
Yes.
It's kind of like what Thomas Jefferson, I think, said about luck. He's like, I'm a firm believer in luck, and it comes a lot more often when I work hard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, cool. Okay, so we've got the outline, and she's got a lot of really good detail in it. And so today I came over, and I'm like, okay, here are my 3 questions for you. Number 1, break this into like different acts. Like, what are the sections of your book? And so she broke it into 5, which is cool. It's not just going to be like a 2-act, builds up and there's a climax and it's over. So it's kind of got a complex plot, which is cool. And was that helpful, breaking it into the 5?
Yeah, I didn't even know that I had acts until 5 minutes ago. So that was nice.
And how does that help?
I feel like now I've got these contained pieces, and if I can look at them as this unit and that unit, and then the way the units interact and the way, the way I'm kind of breaking it down into smaller chunks, so I know my character is going to feel this way and act this way in this first act, and then only 1 act later, she's going to make this incremental step, and then an incremental step. Instead of trying to think of how am I going to get her to go from feisty, independent to powerful, confident woman, now I can just go from, this one piece to another, which I don't think I had really broken it down enough.
Good. Yeah, breaking it down makes it so much easier to manage, and you're going to appreciate that too when you're writing it, because you can just focus on one part at a time and not have to think about all the rest, because it's safely tucked away in Act 3 or whatever. Yeah. Good. My second question was, I said, okay, what's the tone? Identify the tone for each one of these sections. And she came up with some. And that was, I think, when you noticed that Act 3 was kind of flat, not really high energy, maybe need to add some things, right?
Yeah, it's all of a sudden, I'm aiming for something that is overall positive, good message, but this middle piece had nothing really happening, no really big action pieces. So it felt, even when I'm reading it in the outline, it just felt kind of melancholy. Yeah. And that really wasn't what I'm aiming for, but I have them, it's a rainy day and they're in the house, and so something needs to happen different than what is going to be obvious when I was outlining. Good.
And that's when I came up with one of my clever new definition things, where I said, tone is the emotion that your readers will feel when they read your book. And so if it's drab and depressing, that's what you're going to put your readers through. So anyway, we talked about a few things we can do, like use that to foreshadow for part 4, and just to add some energy and stuff like that. So then I came up with a new word for foreshadowing, right?
You did.
What was that?
Chumming.
Oh yeah, chumming. So if you ever gone fishing, here's what you do. Like if you put a bunch of salmon eggs on a hook and you throw it in the lake and you hope the fish are gonna eat it, then what you do is you chuck a couple just free salmon eggs in there so the fish get used to eating it and then they go chomp on your hook without worrying so much. So the really important parts, which many of them happen to be in Act 4 here, you want your readers to say that makes perfect sense. So we found these subtle ways in part 3 and maybe sooner where similar things happen and you see it just on a small scale so you know the character, and when she makes these choices you say, oh yeah, that fits perfectly. Not super obvious stuff, like not the same thing just in a different scenario, but just parallel enough that people get it. I had one other cleverism. What was that? Was it something about the arc? Character arcs, or about just the way the whole plot progresses?
Those are my notes. I think you covered everything in my notes.
Yeah. Well, if I think of it, maybe I'll tell you later. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in our little writing session. Book's going to be awesome. I'll certainly post stuff about it when it's done. So,
I count on it.
yeah.